you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt slinging and tire slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest guests?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Butte.
What's up, Brian Deegan?
Vaughn Ginn Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR IndyCar? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride. Ami Houde.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Ami Houde, like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning and welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver in the house, back in Parker, Arizona. First off, thanks to everybody that tuned in over the weekend or the end of last week when we were live at Vegas to Reno with General Tire, throwing it down at the General Tire Semi Contingency. Great show, lots of listeners. Thank you guys. Today on tap, super special show. The format of the first hour is completely out the window that you know. We're changing it up. It's going to be absolutely epic. We are going to have my good friend Cameron Steele, fellow trophy truck driver, and also TV personality. He's going to be calling in, along with Matt Martelli from Mad Media. A lot of you know him, also behind the Mint 400. Two guys I have an immense amount of respect for. They have a grip on the off-road industry. We are going to be breaking down the state of off-road as we know it for the first hour of the Down and Dirty Radio Show today. The way we're going to do that, it's going to be uninterrupted via commercials. So here in a couple of minutes, we're going to cut to our first commercial break. That way when we come back, we can go 50 minutes without any interruption. But going to be great having those two guys on air. Also, Vegas to Reno results on tap. Brand new Best in the Desert schedule. We're definitely going to get to dissecting that today. Red Bull Global Rallycross, they were in action in D.C. We're going to get to that. TORC results. And, man, we've got Pro Motocross, Ryan Dungey locking things up. And we've got X Games Real Moto dropping, voting going on right now. Ami Houde's going to break down that in Pro Motocross with us to cap off the show. Going to be a great one. I'm excited, and I've got my story from Vegas to Reno to tell. I finished the race, 550 miles in about 15 hours. Definitely wasn't easy, and it wasn't pretty, but we made it to the finish line. So lots of talk. It's going to be a fun show today, but we're changing up this first hour. So right now we're going to cut to a commercial break. When we come back, Cameron Steele, Matt Martelli, and we're going to be dissecting the state of off-road as we know it. It's going to be 50 minutes of must-hear radio guaranteed. So we'll be back after this short commercial break on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When RJ Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the 2-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners and for trick riders, a double side kicker and a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XT Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XT Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All right, got that commercial break out of the way, so now we can go uninterrupted for the next hour, next 50 minutes to be exact. But waiting on my good friends Matt Martelli, Cameron Steele. They're going to be calling in just a minute. We're going to talk some Vegas to Reno and break down some huge announcements by Best in the Desert, but more importantly, talk about the state of off-road racing as we know it. I know this show started out kind of as an off-road show 4 years ago, moved into an action motorsports type of format, but you all know that off-road is near and dear to my heart, and this is something, there's some really big announcements, some really good stuff popping in the off-road industry right now, and I thought what better than to get two guys who know the industry inside and out, to get on air and, and talk with me about it, and really shed some light on some of the huge things that are going on in the world of off-road right now. And, we've been talking both short course and desert and just some awesome stuff. I mean, you just look at Vegas to Reno, and over 300 entries at Vegas to Reno. Just absolutely insane. First guest right now, Cameron Steele calling in. How's everything going, Cameron?
Good, Jimmy. How is everything?
Things are good, man. Back in the office after a long Vegas to Reno for me, but we made it to the finish line, and sometimes that's all you can ask for, man.
I hear you. It's a struggle every time you go out there, but clean runs are not always easy to come by, but we had a pretty solid one ourselves.
Yeah, I saw that, man. You guys you definitely pretty solid. What did you end up? I know it was in the top, 15 overall, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say solid. I guess I should say that we got there without any wrenches on the truck, but
yeah.
We ended up, I think we qualified 9th truck, 7th to the finish line, 11th on corrected time in the trucks, and I think when you mix in the dune skippers, we ended up 14th overall, maybe.
Yeah. So that's, it's crazy, though, talking about, trophy trucks and even Class 1s, but especially trophy truck. I mean, you have to have such a ridiculous, even a 550-mile race, no flats, so clean, no downtime. I mean, 10 years ago, it used to be, you just finish, you're guaranteed almost a top 3 or top 5. Now, I mean, it's coming down to seconds. I mean, obviously this one didn't, but, it's such, I don't know, the sport has just been elevated so high. It's just crazy.
Well, there's so many solid teams in the truck class that can win. I mean, when you really break it down, there's probably a good 18 or 20 trucks that you wouldn't be surprised to see on the podium, So I'm sure you'd narrow it down when you talk about winning. But there's a lot of people with good equipment and, good pit strategies and good drivers. And I mean, it's the sport has changed a lot in the last, decade for sure. This trophy truck thing has spooled up, and there's a lot going on out there.
Yeah, and I find it, super impressive because you look at other motorsports that, are struggling for entries, and and then you've got, desert racing where, there's a few teams like yourself that have been really good at, keeping sponsors happy and partners and, finding them and giving them the ROI they need to stay involved. But, by and large, a lot of the trophy truck programs are self-funded, with not a lot of influx of money and a lot of it going out, and to me, it's just mind-boggling that we can have 40 or 50 trucks and, and a good 3/4 of them completely self-funded and, and they show up each and every round,
Yeah, it's definitely mind-boggling. I mean, there now is over 100 viable trophy trucks out there, that could theoretically show up at a race at any time. So, I think the 40 entries a race is definitely something we should get used to at this point. I don't know what the exact start number was, but I heard there was 39 or so at Vegas to Reno. And, it's a big spend for people to run that race. So, I think sometimes some of the teams don't go to those big long ones, for fuel costs or logistics. But, I think like the Mint seeing over 50 trucks, I think we're on our way to 70 trucks at the Mint, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, and I was one, I'm totally guilty. I think the Mint would probably pretty close to it already if there wasn't that magical cap number. And I know I was waitlisted this year, and I got my entry in before the draw, but I was just too late, and I think there's a lot of guys in that vote. The truck was ready, sitting there, and there was something like 40, 50 vehicles that didn't even get to start the Mint because, they were already at the cap, and I think you're right. I mean, I think 70 trophy trucks at the Mint is totally viable.
I think what we should do is we should be bringing all those trucks to the race, but qualifying and qualify the group down, maybe qualify out 20% or something like that. I think it makes the race even that much more important. And I think it'll bring more attention to our sport if we start, sending people home that don't qualify for the field. And, everybody runs a risk of, and it would be something you have to put into your strategy. And maybe there would have to be sponsor exemption or points exemption, something like that. But I think that qualifying down the field would be cool. I think we should, bring all 70 trucks and only qualify 40 of them into the race.
Yeah, I've got no problem with that. I mean, you look at, Indy 500, Daytona 500, I mean, stuff like that. It's the norm in other motorsports. There's no reason why it shouldn't be here. But now we're joined by Matt Martelli on the line, along with Cameron Steele, Jim Beaver. How's everything going, Matt?
Good. Everything's great, man. Long drive home, but with some pretty awesome racing this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. You're jumping right into the hornet's nest, dude, because we are talking Mint 400 right now and entries and and possibly, Cameron and I are saying I think we could see 70 trick trucks come next year.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, we always want to be the biggest and the baddest and the most professional and have all the big names there, but it's the competition is just getting gnarlier and gnarlier. I mean, this Las Vegas to Reno was a great, victory in terms of overall vehicle count, including bikes and quads. So it's interesting, to watch the sport or to be a part of the sport continually growing.
Yeah, well, and talking about that, I know, Cameron and I were talking about, you getting that many, and I know there was a lot of guys waitlisted this year. I know, I was one of them waitlisted, and I snuck in, but, we're and I was in before the draw, and that's a good problem to have, though, when you have an excess amount of entries. But, there was some, like, I heard 40, 50 cars that go home. I mean, even Cameron brought up talking about, just bring all the trophy trucks that may want to come and qualifying it down, almost like they do at the Indy 500 at Daytona. You got to be, the top 40, top 45 fastest, or you just don't make the show.
Yeah, I mean, that's, probably where we're going to have to go in the future because obviously our entries is limited by, us being a circuit race and the BLM essentially dictates to us how many vehicles we can have out there. So in a point-to-point race, it's a lot more open, but as the competition grows, I don't put that idea out of the realm of possibility for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think the part for you, Matt, is the problem is that you have now raised the bar so high. You guys are the leading race in our sport, especially when you think about the United States. But I mean, really, only at this point, the Baja 1000 rivals what the Mint is doing, and you guys have the entries. I think. Now that, obviously, Matt, you and I are really close friends. We talk all the time. But, just putting it out there that I think that, you guys lead by example. You guys will be the ones that are the difference makers and the policy makers in our sport. And I do think it's time to qualify and send people home. We don't need participation trophies. We don't need everybody to make the field. And I know it might sound rude, but, I have some theories about that. I really, I'm kind of digressing and jumping off the topic, but this last weekend I was very embarrassed and frightened for a lot of motorcycle riders that, in my opinion, had no business being out on a racetrack. Didn't look like they were properly trained or ready. But I think that if a person wants to solo Ironman the bikes at Vegas to Reno, then they should prove themselves at one or two of the smaller Best in the Desert races. And that builds more strength and reasoning for other riders to be at those races. It also would, keep people from just jumping in, which we see all the time at the Baja 1000. People say, I want to race the Baja 1000. They just jump in, not properly trained and not ready. And I agree that that's part of our sport, is that everybody can compete. But in some cases, we have to protect the rider from themselves. And I think in the case of the trucks, I think we need to protect our sport too. And I think that if it's going to grow to this massive field that wants to go to the Mint 400, then I think let's qualify any class that has over 10 entries and just straight up eliminate 10% or 20% of that class through qualifying. And it doesn't sound very nice, but at the end of the day, I mean, this is a race and this is a competition. And if you're not capable of qualifying in the top 90% or 80% or whatever the number is, then go race some more races and come back and let's have a conversation about it, when you're ready to qualify. I mean, I just think that if we're going to put all the cars on the field at the Mint at one time, let's start making it, something that you really have to earn the right to be there. And everybody runs the risk of having a bad qualifying, and I'm not just putting it all on you, Matt. But I am clearly saying that you guys you and your brother are the most forward-thinking group we have in our sport, and I think you guys can set the policy, and maybe it won't be uber popular right away, but I think it's something to think about on your end.
No, I definitely, and I agree, and I appreciate the support, and like you said, we are close, and we discuss these things all the time, because I think, I know both of us are passionate about this culture and this sport, and so I'm not afraid to try new things and evolve, and I'll be the first one to admit that we'll try things and there'll be mistakes made, but then we'll adjust it and move forward and try and do what we think is best, to grow and keep the sport safe and healthy. But I think there's two things to touch base on that you're talking about. One is, qualifying when you have a loop race that has a limited amount of entries. And, I tend to agree with you. I mean, in these bigger races, I think that, you need to come in proven, so that's one aspect. And I agree that we're getting to that point where we need to do that. We don't have the capacity for everybody who comes. I wish we did. But, we don't. And then the other issue that you're talking about, which is, just being qualified to do these bigger events, I agree. I mean, I think that we've come so far as a culture, and as a sport, that we have to start implementing these, these rules, just particularly for safety. I was out chasing. I chased the entire race. I saw a lot of great racing. But you're right. I was out race mile 150, and there's it's an underpass where it goes underneath the freeway. And while we were waiting for the lead trophy trucks, I counted about 7 bikes that had come through, and of those 7 bikes, not one of the guys looked like he was going to make it to the finish. And that was that race mile 150. So, and I'm telling all these guys as they come through, trophy trucks are 5 minutes out or they're 10 minutes out. And I mean, I honestly don't know what that guy does, when he's being chased down by a trophy truck. I mean, it just scared me, period. So, I think that in these bigger races that we do need to start having, some sort of qualification. It's a blessing and a curse that anybody can just go jump into, a bike or a trophy truck if they have the money to do it. But I think that there's a way that we can, help people prepare themselves better for these bigger events like this. So, I agree, and I think it's time to evolve.
Yeah, well, I can attest to what you're saying too, because we had some downtime with a broken 4-link, and then Sean Kroll and I actually got buried in a silt bed. I don't know if he was what he was. He was an amateur motorcycle racer, let's just put it that way, and he actually wadded the bike up in a silt bed and had a bottleneck of about 12 cars behind him, and a lot of them unlimited trucks. I think Reinertson was thrown in there too. But we spent 3 hours of downtime in this silt bed, and it was right before Top Gun, which is one of the last couple of pits, right? So with 100 miles to go, we're sitting there 3 hours down, and by then some bikes and stuff had got by. So we get out of this pit, and Sean and I are right at the same time, because Best of the Desert actually let my personal truck in to pull Sean and me and Reinertson and some of the other trucks out. Because they just didn't have an official. So I'm 100 miles to go. It's dark by now, and I'm going, and there's these fast roads, and I was scared to death. I thought I was going to kill somebody. I must have passed a dozen bikes, and these guys had flashlights duct taped to their front fender. And, here I am, a trophy truck at midnight, you know what I mean? And it was just scary. It was to the point where I'd come up on one, and we were just running for a finish by then. I would let the guy completely get off the course and stop, and I'd idle by him because I was scared he was going to dump it in front of me or something. But at that point, I know they're going for a finish, but it's like, come on, guys. I mean, you've got to think about your life at some point. And it was just ridiculously dangerous.
Well, my point of contention is that these guys don't even know how to pull off the course. I mean, we were racing first of all, how are we catching bikes at race mile 120 when they have a 3-hour head start? I mean, obviously these riders are not qualified to be out there, in my opinion, as a motorcycle rider and a racer. I understand that everybody can compete, but I think we have to draw the line somewhere. If you're not to pit 4 yet, and the truck's already catching you, I think you got to get off the race course. But back to what Jim was saying, it's to see these guys pull to the side of the rut and barely even pull to the side of the rut and then stop. I mean, I don't think they have any idea how dangerous that is. If we were an anti-truck driver, which there's plenty of them, we were at the end of the race, so we were obviously down on time. I actually stopped next to a couple guys to make sure that the truck behind me, Tracy Graff and Dean, could see the bike, because we were racing and there was dust. And I mean, I would say out of, I would have to guess that we passed 50 motorcycles and quads, and I would say that 70% of them did not get off the race course. And I would also say that maybe 25% looked like they were in a struggle way beyond their capability. Just, some people, I mean, Jim, you know this. You can sit behind them for a mile with the siren on, and they can't hear you. But you watch them ride, and you're like, wow, I don't even want to be 100 yards behind this rider because they look so dangerous on the track. And I understand motorcycle riding is difficult, and racing in the desert is hard, but it just, to me, it doesn't look like maybe they're so tired they're not thinking straight, but not pulling off the side of the road and looking that dangerous is just so frightening to me.
Yeah. Well, and to me, I completely agree. It's scary to watch some of these guys ride, and to me, it's you don't go and run a Vegas to Reno and try and Ironman that, as one of your first races. I mean, that's something you go to. You bring your A game. You're on point. If you want to learn to desert race, go and do a works race or something. And that's not saying that there's not good racers in works, but I'm just saying go something with 8-10 mile laps. You know what I mean? Or even a Parker 250 that's bikes only. That starts off the year. Don't go to Vegas to Reno
or District 30 or District 38. And I agree with you guys. I think that there needs to be some sort of qualification. And look, it's tough. I mean, I get the physical challenge of it's a gnarly race to drive on four wheels. And, I think it's, I have a lot of respect for the bike guys and the quad guys that go out and do this. And even the guys who don't Ironman it, it's still gnarly, So, I think what you guys are saying or what your concerns are is correct. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to make this a healthy, competitive sport and culture, but we want it to be safe. I mean, the irony is that when you compare our numbers to other sports, it's a very safe sport. But as the numbers grow, we need to evolve, and we need to put in more qualifications and more safety measures. Otherwise, we will have problems. And the last thing that we want is somebody getting hurt or die.
Yeah, for sure. Let's
for sure, and hopefully that never happens. But maybe we should switch subjects, Jimmy. Sounds like that's where you're going.
Yeah, I was going to say let's tune things, turn it to a little more positive. But no, I mean it's all good stuff, and it's stuff that needs to be talked about. And I know, and I know promoters from time to time I'll get emails and they tune into the show when they get a chance, and I'm sure this will be one of those interviews where they definitely tune in. But talking about some positives in the sport right now. Obviously, we've seen the growth of the Mint 400. It's been ridiculous, which is a positive in this case. And props to you and your brother. But I think big news coming out. We'll talk about score in a minute. But Best in the Desert, Casey kind of laying down the gauntlet. Here at Vegas to Reno, that press conference. I mean, Pahrump bringing back Laughlin, 2-day Vegas to Reno. I mean, he's seems like he's Best in the Desert's got some really good stuff going for it.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
could be so bold. Before you answer that, Matt, I would like to say that I think that Casey has really seen what's possible through what the Martelli brothers have done with the Mint, and I think that's part of the willingness to jump out on the limb and plant his flag and make some changes, listening to the racers. And go ahead, Matt. Sorry, I just wanted to say that I think a lot of it because of what you've done.
No, I appreciate that, and we have a very close relationship with Casey, and beyond our relationship with the Mint, like we're always having conversation, and I'm always pushing him. And what I would describe our relationship as is I'm probably like his super annoying son, who just continually asks him why. I think there's always a challenge in doing new events, and it's money, it's logistics, it's will the city work with you. There's just a huge amount of variables. And, you get to a point as a promoter, I think, where you just kind of had it. And fortunately, Casey doesn't think that way. He's always trying to do new stuff. And what's been funny in our relationship is I come skipping into his office with these great new ideas, and he pulls out the paperwork that he filed 10 years ago, with an Indian reservation that we were looking at in in Arizona. And he's always trying to make things better. He really tries. So, in talking to him previously about what was going to be different this year, obviously Laughlin was a huge one. We had the UTV World Championship there this year at the beginning of the year, right before the Mint, and it was a hugely successful event. And, but you're standing there and you're like, man, I remember trophy trucks doing this. I want those guys back here, so it's been good. City of Laughlin's been very accommodating, and they want to build on it. And, that track is got a lot of history. It should be raced continuously. And, it's a great venue to bring people. The Pahrump race, that's like, going to be an awesome race. And it takes the pressure off of our Gene race course. That was a big thing that I was concerned about was, we don't want to continuously run the same line and beat the hell out of it. We've run that course for many, many years. And, as we try and go forward and make changes, we want to keep it fresh and keep it interesting. Lots of good stuff. And then the 2-day Vegas to Reno long way is going to be awesome. It's still one of my favorite races that I've ever been a part of was the 4-day, the Cloverleaf race that we did there. That was similar. So this is about half that distance. I think it's going to be really cool, and I appreciate the fact that, instead of sitting back and doing the same thing and being satisfied with that, Casey is spending more time and more money to give, the racing community more.
Yeah.
I think he's done a great job in a lot of ways. And I mean, he's at the point now where he's looking with Laughlin, and those are some great events to bring back or to have. But again, I think it goes back to, we would like to run for a possible championship at Best in the Desert, but I struggle with the Parker race. And again, I don't think I will go back this year, unless we can get the cars on a different race. I just think there's too many vehicles on that track at one time. And, it goes back to the same problem. We have too many entries and too many of all classes. And I think cutting it down or putting it on different days is the answer. And I think raising the entry fees and getting more sponsorship to get that done would be huge. I personally, I think Casey and Best in the Desert have a great offering, but I think that there needs to be a solution for Parker and the Mint to get all those vehicles off the courses on the same day, if it's at all possible. Obviously, Matt, you have the insight on that, or just put less vehicles on the course.
Yeah.
And I think that, there's other ways to look at it. One thing I had thought of before is, let's start the trick trucks in the morning just like we do at Parker, and everybody do one lap and pull all the unlimited vehicles off the track. And then let the limited cars race until 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon, and figure out what the cutoff time is. Everybody still gets a finish or whatever, and then restart the unlimited cars on their last 2 laps at 4 o'clock or something like that. So the limited cars have stretched out or thinned out, and some have broken and gotten out of the way. But right now the unlimited trucks are right on the tail of the Jeep Speeds or whatever is getting launched out. I mean, they're in their first 30 miles of racing when they're getting caught, or whatever the number is. So I think there might be some, different ways to maybe achieve some of the goals. And like I said, I'm always willing for the trophy truck guys to take the brunt of whatever the uncomfortable situation is. If someone has to race at 4 in the morning, or someone has to race late at night, or if someone has to have their race shortened, I'm all for the trucks taking the brunt of that and giving the limited classes whatever they want. But anything to get us off of the same track at the same time as much as possible.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that there's an opportunity to do some format changes, at Parker in particular, to make it, better. And adding multiple days of racing, that's absolutely one of the solutions that we've been looking at. The challenge for us is that, that doubles the cost, and we've got to find, it's not so much the money, because we've been very fortunate in finding sponsors who are very, accommodating and believe in our vision, which we've proven to be, fruitful for them as well. It's really finding volunteers. That's the hard part. It's very easy to find, lots of volunteers who can take a Friday off. But when you add, Thursday or whatever, or additional days, it becomes difficult. So, if you love off-road, volunteer for it. It helps us. But I think it's wide open, really, Cam. And I think that, that's one thing I'm really happy that the drivers are starting to get together and have a little bit more of a uniform voice, because, I could tell you myself as a promoter, I don't want to dictate terms to people. That's not what I'm here to do. What I'm here to do is to be a part of this culture and be essentially a cheerleader and a leader for this culture. But do what everybody wants, and what makes the best sense. And, some things people are going to agree with, some things people aren't, but we're always trying to, make it better. But I agree with you. I think that there needs to be some format changes with, particularly with the loop races.
Yeah, well, and it's funny that we get back to this, because to me this speaks volumes of what a visionary Sal Fish was back in the early 90s, because, when he created Trophy Truck and, I was still, a kid, I think in high school in the time or something, but, when he created it, he immediately said, all right, we're going to have this elite level, of competition. We need to get these guys off the course. And I know at Parker, just like you were saying, Cameron, Trophy Trucks used to run on Thursday. Trophy Trucks raced Thursday. Everybody else raced on Saturday, and I think it was the same way with the Nevada races when they used to race at Prim and some of the others. I think, the point to point, it's a little bit different because you don't have to worry so much about, passing lap traffic and such. But I think it really speaks volumes that Sal way back, 20 some years ago, was already thinking this way.
For sure. And I think that, we as a group, and I hate to keep putting it on Matt and Josh, but I mean, you guys are the leaders, and I would love to see some kind of format change like that. I mean, like I said, I am not going to Parker with the current format that's being run with our trucks. It's just, I don't think it's safe, and I don't want to be a part of it. And I have to put my feet down in the sand and stand up for what I think is correct. And I've been, boisterous. I've spoken out about it. I'm very clearly opposed to, mixing Class 1 cars in with the trucks. I think there's no reason for it. They're smaller, slower, lower, and I think it's unsafe. I think the results at this year's Vegas to Reno bear that out once again, that the 1 cars are not truly competitive. And yes, everybody can argue that a Class 1 car is in the top 3, but it is a trophy truck with no body on it. So just be careful what you're talking about. But we need the separation. And I'll tell you this for sure. If we can get the separation, then I think we open ourselves up for more trucks, different competition, and let me be the first trophy truck team to volunteer for the limited class day. My crew will man 6 road crossings or 6 checkpoints or whatever it is on a limited car day at the Mint, no problem. And I think that every unlimited truck team would put teams out there, and I think you could do the limited car race without any volunteers if you wanted to do that. I think you could do it with all race team personnel, and if that started happening, I think that you would get participation from these race teams that bring. I mean, we probably brought 50 people to the Mint. I mean, we have people and trucks, radios, fire extinguishers. I mean, these trophy truck teams have lots of equipment, and we can put them into use. I mean, we carry we have medical boxes. We can bring medical staff. I mean, we have a lot of things that we use on our other trips that we can bring. So I think together we can do all this. But I think unless we start talking about it right now, Parker and Mint or any loop race, we have to come up with those changes. And I think that, Jim, you're right. Sal was a visionary, and to this day, he's the reason we're all here. I mean, for the bottom line.
Absolutely.
He made it happen for all of us.
Yeah.
And,
I
would just love to see changes made. And go ahead, Matt.
No, yeah, and that, hey, I appreciate it. And that's really what we need more of, we need more commitment from racers to be involved in the culture and not just pay their fee, come and race and go home, because this is the culture. We're all responsible for one another. I'm not, I wasn't born into some rich family that can write checks unlimited just to go have races. And, we're doing it all on the backs of sponsors primarily and entry fees. I mean, entry fees count, but, we really need everybody's help, not just in the promotion of the sport, but things like this, where it's like, hey, you want to make a difference, you want to see this race happen, pitch in and use your resources. I mean, when you look at the amount of resources that we have as a community, it's pretty damn incredible. So, I would take that and I agree with you. I think that, separating some of the racing, it also allows for growth in the limited classes, and it allows for growth in the unlimited classes, both of which need the space, particularly at loop races. I mean, the other challenge we have going on is obviously, the UTVs are getting faster and faster, yet, they can't be mixed in with unlimited cars because, you get bumped by a trophy truck in a UTV and it's game over, So I think that, that these are all great ideas that we should implement, in the end, I think that, it'll be a hard pill to swallow for some people in the beginning because it's change. But as we grow, it'll prove to be the right decision.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that although you glazed over it very quickly, Matt, about the formation of a possible group of drivers, I can't speak for the group, but I can say that as a driver, I think that if we had a group that spoke with the promoters directly as a unified bunch, that we could help each other build policy, understand decisions. And I think that this need of volunteers is a great example. If Matt Martelli needs 200 volunteers to run the limited cars on a separate day, or I should say not Matt Martelli, how about we just say the Mint race? If they need 200 volunteers and $100,000, and they need to raise the entry fee to $5,000 for the trick truck to run the limited cars on the day before or the day after, or run the trophy trucks at a different time, however you want to call it, and the Martelli brothers or the Mint 400 have the ability to go to this group and say, this is what we need to do this. We hear you saying you want to do this. This is what we need. And then we can go back as a group with our resources and say, what part of this can we tackle as a group? What can we participate in? And I think that's the guise of the group is how everybody can work together instead of, one person making a phone call here, one person making a phone call there. Everybody gets together. And like I said, I can't speak for the group. Dan can't speak for the group. But as a group, Jimmy can't speak for the group. But as a group, we can speak together.
Yeah. Well, and
sure.
Looking at it that way, I mean, you're talking about that and talking about, the trick truck or trophy truck drivers or whatever group it may be. I mean, you can go to the trophy truck guys at the Mint. And what do we have? 60? I mean, even at 50, say, hey, we need 200 guys. So that's 4 guys per team. I mean, you need an extra. You need an extra, $100,000. What is that? $2,000 a team. I mean, obviously, $2,000 is a lot of money, but in trophy truck terms, it really isn't. It shouldn't be hard to do. I think it's just getting everybody, to get their heads out of the sand and get together as one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, look, I agree. I think.
Go ahead.
No,
Sorry,
I think that, not to beat a dead horse, but we're all in this together. And I agree with you. And I take on a certain level of responsibility, obviously, for the events we do, but our commitment goes way beyond that.
Yeah.
So, I agree that, having communication, with the drivers and with all the racers is key, and doing it in an organized fashion, because for better or for worse, it's like when, somebody gets on Race Desert and complains or, it's the loudest voice that gets the most attention. That doesn't always work, in our favor.
Yeah. Well,
for sure. And I think that things that, the truck drivers are totally willing to change, that I think that would surprise the promoters, is I think that we're willing to spend $1,000 to qualify to have good courses, which kudos to Casey for qualifying us in the desert on something, whether it was good or bad. For me personally, I thought it was a great effort, and I wanted to hail him for that. But we would gladly pay for qualifying, to pay his staff, to pay for fees, and at the same time, me as a businessman, I want Best in the Desert to be profitable, and I want the Martelli brothers to be profitable. And if we need to raise the entry fee for the trucks, let's do that to make it all work for everyone, And I think that there's a lot of give and take out there, and I think that the drivers of the unlimited trucks are super keen to work with the promoters and help find solutions and help work towards the common goal of just keeping the sport growing and being great and being safe.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I'm game. So, and I know that Casey is as well. And too, like Cam, you and I have talked about this, but the other topic of conversation that I want to open up is, where else do you guys want to go race? Because we're concentrated into primarily 3 states. And, every time I travel around this country, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of open land, and not all of it is necessarily ideal for desert racing, but there's a lot of other places that we could be racing, in the United States and really in the world.
Yeah. Well, I've always thought personally, I think at some point off-road needs to have a major event in Texas. 1, it's a truck market. 2, there's actually a lot of teams from the Texas area. I've always thought, a legitimate score, Best in the Desert, needs to put on a proper race there, and I think it's going to be huge. I think, to me, looking at the whole United States, that's the logical next step is running a big event in Texas.
I agree,
yeah.
And I think that one thing that we can point out is that the Score Laughlin race always started off with a bladed course, and if you just let the course develop, there will be bumps, and eventually it will be good for trophy truck racing. And so I think that it's unlimited. Wherever you can find the private land or land to go race on, Matt, if Mad Media says, hey, we're going racing in New Mexico, or hey, we're going to Oregon, we're in. We're going. It's always going to be a little bit tough with the schedule. For a team like us, we have to obviously work a budget, and we also have to clear each race with our sponsors. But I can tell you at this point, none of our sponsors are going to argue with going to a Mad Media promoted event based on what you guys have accomplished at the Mint. And, we were the first team to sign up when the Mint was coming back, and we would be the first team to sign up if you guys go somewhere else. If it's Texas, then it's Texas. Let's go. And it only expands our footprint and our market, and let's more people see what we're doing, which is good for our sponsors and good for our sport.
Yeah, no. And, that's what we want to do. Look, to us, and I appreciate all the accolades and the respect for what we've done with the Mint, but guys, we're just getting started. Cam, you and I have a long history of being involved in the behind the scenes of X Games and the growth of X Games, so we've seen it. And, we've seen what we're doing work, and it didn't happen overnight. It took 10, 15 years. But if you look at the value of the X Games property now, and you go, wow, it's, worth really hundreds of millions, not billions of dollars of business. And you look at what we're selling, which is trucks and tires and oil and, beer and, all the high margin goods that the world sells. I think that there's a massive potential for us, and to us, the Mint is just the very tip of the iceberg of that. And, we want to bring it to new markets. We want the whole world to look at our sport and our culture and go like, wow, that's amazing. The racing's amazing. not to jump around a whole bunch, but going back to Vegas to Reno, I mean, even if I'm not doing work at a race like Vegas to Reno, I'll go chase the whole thing because spectating it is awesome. Seeing all the different battles and all the different classes at this race was just epic. It's an epic race, and everybody thought like, hey, cool, Menzies qualified first, he's going to check out, and he did for a while, and then ran into problems, and the lead kept changing, and for a while there it looked like BJ was going to do it, and he had problems, and Voss kept going, and he ended up getting it, and when you look at the margin, he won by, Jimmy, do you know what it was? 31 minutes?
Yeah, it was 30-some minutes. I've actually got the results here, but I'll have to look them up. But yeah, it was right around 30 minutes, and I mean, that's, to be honest with you, that's pretty absurd. That's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy when the Baja 1000 is being, won by a couple minutes, and now we have in Vegas to Reno is being won by that margin. It just makes it interesting and exciting. It really is the MMA of motorsports. It's very unpredictable.
Yeah. Well, and here's a question for both of you, because Cameron's done a superb job at selling sponsorship and and bringing in partners. I know you're the same, Matt, and I mean, you look at the Mint 400. I mean, it's tremendous. I mean, I've tried to bring some outside companies in and get involved in the sport. But looking as a whole, I mean, the one thing out of all the announcements that Best in the Desert made that I saw concerning was, it seems like when we put on a new event or we put on something new, we keep taking from the same companies, and it's great that we have companies that support us, but looking at the sponsors for these new events from Best in the Desert, I mean, it's a lot of the same companies that always support our sport. I mean, when do we take it and get, I've always thought a bottled water company would be ideal for desert racing. I mean, when do we get an Arrowhead Water or one of these outside non-endemics into the sport to help start growing it?
I agree with you, and look, that's our mandate, and with the Mint, we've done that, and we're continuing to do it. But I'll again defer to our experience with X Games. What our goal was with the Mint was to build an entry point, just simply a reference point for the world to say, oh yeah, off-road racing, yeah, the Mint, and then that's just an entry point for all these companies to come and get involved. From there, we're going to talk them into sponsoring racers and sponsoring other events, because for better or for worse, we're going to have essentially one grouping of sponsors for the Mint, and there could be another grouping of sponsors for other events. So, I think Casey's doing that because that's what he knows, and that's how he's survived and grown the culture, is by, utilizing his friendships and utilizing those relationships. I think it's really up to us, Mad Media, Cameron Steele, the Mint 400, Race Desert, all the kind of, younger, more forward-thinking people in this culture to move that forward. One of the challenges is the cart before the horse thing. It's like, you go to some company and you say, hey, cool, I'm going to race the Pahrump, 250, and they go, cool, where's that? And you're like, well, it's in Pahrump. Well, they don't care and they don't know, and Pahrump is not a market for them. So, they look at the value of what we're doing and go, well, is it affecting a geographic location? What is their television package? What is their reach? And so that's where I think it's up to us to work with, Casey and really other organizations too. I mean, we do some stuff for Snore. We do short course stuff. Our kind of mode is that, we are the cheerleaders of the culture. We want to bring in money so that, guys like Cameron have money to race. We want to bring in money so that we can have bigger and better events. We want to bring in money so that we have more television, more online media coverage. So it's just a process thing, and we're just getting started with that. I mean, prior to the Mint, we really didn't have an event that we could point at and say, hey, yeah, this is worth $1 million or this is worth X, because frankly, they really aren't, That's why our organization started doing, all sorts of online activation, because at least we could point at those numbers and say, see, look, even though this race doesn't have a television package, we still reached, 700,000 people via social media. So we're at the very beginning of that organization process, and that, that proving of value, and that's really where it needs to go. I mean, I would like to see a day, and it is our goal to see a day where not only the events are sponsored and covered on television and, you know, properly activated on, but that is putting money back in racers' pockets directly and in the form of prize purses. Because, again, when you look at the value of our culture, I think that we have a very high value. It's just a matter of connecting those dots and packaging in a way so that corporate America can digest it, you know? What do you think is more valuable at this day and age, sponsoring a skateboarder or sponsoring a trophy truck athlete? If you're an oil company, you know, it's clearly sponsoring a trophy truck athlete, but that paradigm shift is just beginning to happen. And it's not going to just be us. It's going to be, you know, guys like Cameron, guys like you, Jim, that are super proactive on social media. You know, it's going to be everybody.
Yeah.
I agree, Jimmy. I agree with you. I thought the announcement of Laughlin was obviously huge, and no disrespect to any sponsor. I don't care if it was one of my sponsors. I think it could have come out as a major festival, cornerstone, purse, TV show. I think it could have been, you know, what we were looking at as a second mint kind of thing, because the location does bear it out. But we also understand that we have to grow into that, and, you know, sometimes jumping too far can leave people not able to achieve those goals. But I do see the possibility of Laughlin. I don't know that the date is a good date overall, because it's 1 month from the Baja 500, which every single sponsored athlete in this deal has to be at. But other than that, I mean, I think the Laughlin race could be the next real gem in a different sense than the Mint, and I really think that it can go places. So, yeah, I kind of felt that same thing that you felt, Jim, but at the same time, I applaud those companies that did step up and sponsor it. And, you know, I would have liked to have seen Laughlin come out as some massive deal, you know, almost a standalone announcement, because so many people have been asking to go back to Laughlin, and we're going to be right back where we are with the Mint. We're going to have too many entries, but it's going to be awesome.
Exactly, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and you know, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, no, I was just saying that, you know, that I agree. I mean, Laughlin was one of those events that we want to do more with, and we're actively talking to Casey about, you know, him allowing us to do more with it. And that really goes, you know, that goes in step with all the, you know, the best in desert races. You know, I mean, there's some really good races and that are deserving of, you know, television content, online content. So it's just a matter of us, you know, putting those, you know, those deals together to do that. I mean, I want, you know, I'd like to produce, you know, a dozen TV shows a year like the Mint. We've just got to set up that dynamic to do it, you know. So I think it's a progressional thing, and, you know, the Mint is a good litmus test, and it's a good jumping off point. Now we have that momentum. We can attract larger and larger sponsors, and not all of them are going to be able to sponsor the Mint. So I think it puts us in a good position. And I agree with what you guys are saying. I mean, you know me, I want to do everything big and, you know, make it the world's greatest, the world's best, and push beyond our limitations. And, you know, I think for Casey, you know, he made a lot of effort and made a lot of change to get it, you know, to that point. And, you know, again, I think it's up to us to, you know, take this and make something out of it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we got a couple minutes left, guys. Any closing thoughts before we let you guys go?
I wanted to mention that everybody should keep their budget open for next year for donating to the Baja Beach Bash, because we have a steep road to hoe to surpass what we did this year, and just wanted to let everybody know that we'll be getting that call in March and April. So heads up, it's coming.
All right. And you know, how about you, Matt?
You know, I'm just really super pumped on the Vegas race was awesome. I know Cam didn't necessarily finish where he wanted to, but I saw him out in course and he was cranking. You know, dude, the truck's had some changes made to it. It's working really well, and you know, I'm sure your victory, a well-deserved victory, is coming shortly. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the year of racing. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate both you guys taking the time. I've got an immense amount of respect for both of you and what you guys do behind the scenes. I think, a lot of times both of you don't get the credit you deserve, but, keep on doing it. And, I think the sport's definitely growing and getting better each and every day.
Man, thanks for all that you do too, Jimmy. It's good to have the voice out there.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, guys. And, we just we're all in this together, and I think a lot of people lose sight of that,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, guys. Well, we'll definitely talk soon, and have a great recovery from Vegas to Reno. I know I'm feeling the weekend today, so yeah.
Right on. Thanks, Jim.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you guys.
See ya. All right, that was Matt Martelli, Cameron Steele, State of Off-Road Racing. Great interviews, man. Love having Cameron Steele on air. Matt Martelli, definitely a solid couple of guys and really help, the sport of off-road racing grow and push forward. And, lucky to be able to snag them both. Both super uber busy guys, and we've been scheduling this for a couple of weeks. And, what better time right after Vegas to Reno to nail them down. But we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have some Vegas to Reno results, GRC results, TORC results, and a whole lot more. And don't forget, we still got Ami Houde left calling into the show. This is a Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris RZR. We'll be back right after this.
I'm Polaris rider Levi LaValle, and I choose Polaris just because they have the best quality, highest performing, most fun machines out there.
Only one company has taken Levi LaValle to 10 X Games medals, snowcross championships, a double backflip, and a world record long jump of 412 feet across the San Diego Harbor on New Year's Eve, and that company is Polaris. Whether it's dominating the X Games, racing a stock Polaris RZR XP1000 in the Terracross Championship, or just hitting the trail on the weekend, for over 20 years, Levi has relied on the same quality Polaris vehicles and products you can purchase at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of action sports legend Levi LaValle and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other. Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. Looking to upgrade the brake system on your race car, pre-runner, or weekend toy? J-Mar Performance Brake Systems has you covered. An industry leader in performance braking systems, J-Mar can outfit your vehicle with the highest quality American-made calipers, rotors, master cylinders, hubs, turning brakes, and shifters for Volkswagens to trophy trucks and everything in between. For more information and their full product line, visit J-Mar on the web at jmarperformance.com or follow them on Instagram and Twitter at J-Mar Brakes.
Come to the island and rip it up this summer. Wakeboard Island. It's a skate park on water at Blue Water Resort and Casino. Check out the two-tower cable system that pulls you and your board over the water. No boats to watch out for, no fumes. Wakeboard Island is open to all skill levels with an open center section for beginners and for trick riders, a double side kicker in a 60-foot flat box. Wakeboard Island, the best ride this side of the Rockies. Adjacent to the River's Edge Cantina at Blue Water Resort and Casino on the Colorado River in Parker, Arizona.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm your host, Jim Beaver. And, man, talk about a great first hour of the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Just absolute, great stuff from Cameron Steele, Matt Martelli, like I've said before. A couple of guys I have an absolute immense amount of respect for. Cameron, I mean, if you guys have watched X Games the past 20 years, you've seen Cameron, he's the voice of freestyle motocross has been for, in motorcycles at the X Games for a long, long time. Matt Martelli, behind the scenes, Mint 400, he's just, numerous viral videos to his credit. UTV World Championship, the guy is just, he's on point. He gets it. Both of them do, and both of them, been great with bringing different partners and people into the off-road industry. And in Matt's case, not just off-road, but rally and drifting and some others. So action sports, MMA. I mean, Matt's all over the place. But Cameron, not only off-road but the bike side as well. But a couple of great guys. But getting to some more Vegas to Reno results. These results brought to you by our good friends at General Tire. Skip over to General Tire and check out their full lineup of tires, and got to see that new General MT in the flesh at Vegas to Reno, and I got to tell you, awesome tire. You're looking for a vehicle or a tire for your vehicle that definitely has some aggressive I guess some aggressive lugs. I don't know, I'm losing my train of thought here, but aggressive pattern, tread pattern, it's definitely one to check out. But Jason Voss overall, Jason just, man, this guy, he's almost unbeatable at Vegas to Reno. 3 in a row for him, 3 overall victories at Vegas to Reno in a row. Great run for him. Luke McMillan, solid effort by Luke to finish up in second, and then B.J. Baldwin not far back from Luke, about 30 seconds back from Luke, there in third overall. We had Lalo Laguna finishing up fourth overall. Tim Herbst, great to see the Herbst boys back in in the top 5. We had Rob McCachran, Troy Herbst, Steve Ologis, Justin Lofton, your Mint 400 champ, and Dan McMillan rounding out your top 10. Got to give a shout-out to Tracy Groff, the Canadian, finishing up in 11th. Solid effort by Tracy. It's been a while since we've seen him up that high, so I don't know, maybe a first, but great effort by Tracy Groff to finish up there just outside the top 10 overall. John Walker in the Class 1500 finishing in second. Scott Bailey third in 1500, 13th overall. Then we had Cameron Steele, who we just interviewed, 14th overall, 16th in Trick Truck, and we had Jason Ruane there in 15th overall. So, sorry, Cameron Steele was 11th overall, or 11th in Trick Truck. Jason Ruane, 12th in Trick Truck, 15th overall. Skipping down to some of our other results, your 6,100 winner, Brett Serapis, 22nd overall. Solid effort by him. Second in 6,100, Tony Smiley. Going down, your Class 10 winner, Steve Melton. He was in 26th overall. Going down here even further, and Class 8,000 winner, Don German, taking home that victory. And 7,200 winner was Gary Messer. Class 2,400 winner, Brian Folks. And let's see, Class 6,000 winner was P.J. Guillermo. 1,900 winner, UTV. 59th overall, Justin Lambert taking home the win for Polaris. And Cognito, great effort by him. I don't know. He was right in there. Beat second in Class 6,000. Just looking, he was right around. He's solid effort. Rob Reinertson, also Trick Truck down there, 25th overall. He finished 61st, but going down, looking for a few more winners. 4,700 winner Javier Quieros, Class 3,000 winner Chad Broughton. 8,100 Mark Van Tassel, finishing in 89th overall. And Class 1,700 Jeep Speed winner, he was 97th overall. And Class 2,900 winner, Lucretia Bierrier, out of Lake Havasu in a Polaris and Unlimited UTV. Class 7,100 winner, Justin Park, also taking a victory there. And the Class 1,100 winner, Steve Barron, 113th overall. 3,700 winner, Michael McLeod. 1,800 Sportsman winner, Greg Jefferson, and that rounds out all of your winners. I think I was down there in like 27th in Trick Truck. Lots of downtime for me. We had a 4-link break and then got stuck behind a wrecked motorcycle with Reinertson, Sean Kroll, and a grip load of 7,200 and smaller trucks. And, I guess we shouldn't have been running that far back, but when you break a 4-link and spend 2 hours down with that, then, you get back in some of the limited classes, and then stuff hits the fan. And that's what happened with us. Spent a couple hours of downtime in that silt hole behind the motorcycle that crashed, and then ended up having an alternator go out, which is not good when it's turning dark and you have a bunch of rigid LED lights to run. Not that they draw much power, but you still need an alternator. So we had to swap an alternator out, and by then it was just me getting it to the finish. We did finish about 1:30, and I do want to mention, man, everybody keeps thinking I destroyed the truck. No, the hood actually is fine. It's on the truck now. One of our hood latches broke. And so instead of letting the hood flap and trying to duct tape it down, we made the decision just pull the whole hood off so we can just fix the latch and don't have to replace the hood. So the hood is fine. It's back on the truck. Just had a small latch break, and that's why it was off. I didn't roll the truck or anything, but all the speculation out there when I post up a picture from the finish line and everybody thinking we wrecked the truck or something. Not the truth. Truck is A-OK, I promise. Just need some TLC, and it'll be ready for the Blue Water Desert Challenge in October. So those are the best in desert results brought to you by General Tire. Go over to GeneralTire.com, check them out, and get some red labels for your ride. I guarantee you I won't be disappointed. Going over another event happening this weekend, Red Bull GRC Washington, D.C., and this was the one Patrick Sandell won last year. And Patrick did find his way to the podium yet again, but I got to give a big shout-out to Nelson P.K. Jr., in the SH Racing entry, taking home his very first Red Bull GRC victory ever. And, this one's been a long time coming. The past couple of years, Nelson, been very solid. Lots of podiums in the championship hunt last year to the end. But, that victory has eluded him, and he breaking through in Washington, D.C., taking that win. Diversely different course from last year, and course actually looked pretty solid. And I got to apologize. I never miss a Red Bull GRC event. I missed this one. I was traveling back from Vegas to Reno, just flat. Forgot to set the DVR, didn't watch it. I was in the middle of nowhere, Nevada at the time. So my apologies, but I will definitely have the next one DVR guaranteed. I'll have to catch the replay, I guess, and So that's my story. But Patrick Sandell, last year's winner, finishing up in second. Ken Block third. Sound like Ken had some struggles in the first heat and maybe with car setup and whatnot, but battling back, podium, solid effort by Ken Block. I mean, this guy is just on point this year. Even when he has a bad weekend, he still gets a podium. I mean, that tells you how good Ken Block and the Hoonigan Racing guys are this year. I mean, he has a bad weekend and gets third place. So I think a lot of drivers on the grid would like their good weekends to go that well. So just tells you how good and how dedicated these guys are to this championship. And if there's ever any doubt in your mind, these guys are the favorites. It needs to be washed away with this effort. That's for sure. Steve Arpin in that Ganassi racing car, finishing up in fourth. The first finishing Volkswagen, Tanner Faust fifth, Sebastian Eriksson sixth, seventh Scott Speed, Dine eighth, Jeff Ward. He's alternating with Brian Deegan in that second Ganassi car, finishing up in ninth, and Yoni Wieman didn't finishing up in 10th. Notes from this event. No Subarus. That's right. Subaru electing not to go to Washington, D.C., but they did make the announcement, L.A., September. Subaru actually, through their STI, the Subaru Technica International, they are actually the sponsor of the event. The STI brand is. They're going to have 4 Subarus at L.A., Bucky and Sver, obviously, and then Travis Pastrana and David Higgins. So 1, 2, 3, 4 Subarus in L.A., not going to D.C. Sounds like, I don't have any facts to back this up, but obviously we all know Subaru in GRC has struggled a little bit this year with this new car, maybe taking some time to do a little more development and fine-tuning, and hopefully they put on a great show in Los Angeles with 4 cars there. So, that's kind of my guess. They're out of the points battle at this point, and like to go and get a few more podiums to finish off the year. So, my guess is that's what happened. They decided not to go to DC and do some development work so they can put on a good show in LA. So it was pretty much all Fords, other than a couple of Volkswagens, and then I guess Pat Morrow. Pat Morrow was there in the Chevy. But it was pretty much all Fords at this point. So hopefully you're if you're a GRC fan, you're a Ford fan. If not, you're in trouble. But looking at lights, GRC lights final, Alex Keys breaking through with the win. Oliver Erickson finishing up in second. Miles Maroney third. Alejo Fernandez fourth, and Joachim Haval in fifth. I'm sure I butchered that, so sorry, but he finished up in fifth. All kinds of names that we don't see very often here in lights. I can't even pronounce them, man. I'm feel bad. I'm usually Mr. GRC on point, know all this. I can't even pronounce these names. So skip over to RedBullGlobalRallycross.com if if you're wanting to see the rest of the lights results. But anyways, looking at the championship standings as of now, Ken Block, big lead out front. Sebastian Eriksson in second. Looks like Sebastian is about 41 points back of Block. Nelson Piquet Jr., he's in third. Dine, Sandell, Speed, Wieman, Arpin, Faust, Deegan rounding out your top 10. And then 11th and 12th, we got Sver and Bucky. So, they're going to be going for podiums. So look out. Subaru is coming these last few events to try and bring home some podiums. I guarantee you that is the game plan for those boys over at Subaru. So, next up, Red Bull GRC Los Angeles, and they've got Barbados and the finale in Las Vegas. So, everybody as of now, chasing down the Hoonigan Ken Block. Also, some events happening over the weekend. TORC, Bark River. It was all going down Saturday and Sunday. Pro 2 Saturday, CJ Greaves, Keegan Kincaid, Marty Hart, Brad Lovell, Nick Tyree, your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then Pro Light, Doug Mittag, Kyle Hart, Travis Dinsmore, Luke Johnson, Jesse Johnson. Great to see Jesse Johnson back out there in the number 15. That was your top 5 there on Saturday. And then Pro 4, CJ Greaves, Johnny Greaves, Larry Pegram, name you don't see very often, up there on the podium in Pro 4. So that was Saturday. Skipping forward to Sunday's results. Pro Light, Luke Johnson taking the win. Doug Mittag, Andrew Carlson, Cam Reimers, and Cody Kleeman, your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then looking at Pro 2, Keegan Kincaid, another win for him. Solid effort in Pro 2 this year for Keegan, man. He's definitely, he's given CJ Greaves a run for his money, who finished in second, by the way. Marty Hart third, Lovell, and then our boy Ari Lyondike Jr. Finishing up in 5th. And then got to give a shout out. You got to love Ari Jr. You know, he did his time in reality TV, so he still makes the tabloids. That was funny. My wife had that was like an In Touch magazine from a couple of weeks ago. Or it was funny, just open it up, and tabloids had Ari Jr. in there doing some sponsor appearances or something like that in New York. But, just funny to see a race car driver in a tabloid, just because of it was so random. It was like, shouldn't have been in a tabloid, but it was just because. So I don't know. But if you read those magazines, I guess maybe you saw Ari too. But CJ Greaves taking home the Pro 4 win, Johnny Greaves second. Scott Douglas, Chad Horde, Mike Jenkins, 1 through 5. So that is about it for TORC Bark River. But you got to love Bark River, man. That and Crandon, as far as I'm concerned, two of the most iconic short course venues in the country. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Those are both venues that, if they decided to punt promoters and say, you know what, we don't want TORC here, we don't want Lucas here, nothing, we're just going to put on our own events, they'd still have stacked fields. It's kind of like the Indy 500. It doesn't matter who sanctions it. There's going to be people show up anyways. Especially you can't forget about the sportsman racers there from the Midwest, that turn out at Crandon and Bark River. Just great venues. Crandon will always be number one as long as it exists, and I don't see it going away anytime soon. That coming up in Labor Day, the big Crandon. But that and Bark River, if you're going to try and make a short course event, I would say those are the two you definitely want to try and schedule in, because just iconic venues. The fan turnout second to none, and I would even say in motorsports, man. These you go to Fall Crandon and Labor Day weekend, put that on par with the Indy 500, hands down. That or the Daytona 500, and the fans probably even more enthusiastic. It's you want to see some dedicated, hardcore fans. Labor Day Crandon is where it's at. That is for sure. Anybody that's gone will tell you the exact same thing. I don't think anybody's ever gone there and not been impressed. I guess, if you have, I'd like to hear from you, because I want to know why. Unless you're not a fun-loving person and, just a boring soul, then you're going to love Fall Crandon. That's for certain. I don't care if you don't even like motorsports, man. Just people watch. That's worth it right there. Fall Crandon, definitely where it's at. And, you really want to make it interesting. Go get yourself some, spend some time in Jurassic Park, and I guarantee you, you'll see some things that probably you shouldn't see, and probably none of us would care to ever see again, and maybe you wish you would somehow forget them. But you gotta love short course racing in the Midwest in the summertime. Nothing beats it. That is for sure. So that is your TORC results, and winding that season down. It's all coming down to the wire. Labor Day, Crandon. And going to crown some champions and a world champion there, over Labor Day weekend. So just a few weeks away from that. That's your TORC results for the week. Other racing action over the weekend, we had some pro motocross. Ryan Dungey clinching that up, but we're going to get to that here in just a few minutes when we come back and Ami Houde calls into the show. But am getting a few messages, people wanting to know about these new Best in the Desert schedule. And before we go to the break, I will give you that breakdown real quick. 2016 schedule. It is up at Best in the Desert's website, but we will definitely skip over there real quick and give you all the details on that. Obviously, things starting off with the Parker 250. The Parker 250. But then moving on to Blue Water Resort Parker 425, then the UTV, the Polaris Razor UTV World Championship, that is coming up late February. Polaris Razor Mint 400 presented by General Tire. That's in mid-March. And then this is where everything changes up. Laughlin Desert Classic, May 5th through the 8th. Going to be a huge event. Mark your calendars. Take the time off work. I'm telling you, Laughlin, if you've never been to Laughlin Desert Challenge or Classic, it's now called, you're missing out. It's one of the best desert races of the year, and as far as spectating goes, probably I would say that and the Blue Water Desert Challenge are two best. We go to Vegas to Reno the long way. General Tire, Vegas to Reno the long way, mid-August. It's a 2-day event running a whole different direction out of Las Vegas. Day 1 stop is in Tonopah. Day 2 starts up in Tonopah, runs all the way to Reno. Long one's going to be about 750 miles. Blue Water Desert Challenge presented by Polaris in October. And then the Pahrump Nugget 250 presented by Supercross.com. That is the first weekend in December. So that's your Best in the Desert schedule. RaceDesert.com and Best in the Desert has it up on their websites. But, yeah, it's going to be a fun one next year. Looking forward to it. Have to see what kind of events I can fit in, but definitely going to be a great schedule. All right, going to take a short break. We come back. Ami Houde's going to be calling in. We are going to be talking some real moto, some X Games real moto and pro motocross results, and find out what happened to Ami over the weekend. She's got a little bit of an ankle sprain from what I understand, so I'm sure she's going to have a great story to tell there in typical Ami Houde fashion. So this is the Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Jim Beaver. We'll be back after this break. Got any questions for Ami? Make sure and tweet me at JimBeaver15. We will definitely get those answered. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle and Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Baja, check. King of the Hammers, check. Crandon, check. The Mint 400, check. Only one wheel company can say they have dominated the deserts and rocks of the Southwest to the mud and carnage of the big house at Crandon, and that company is KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels has won them all with the help of elite drivers like Travis Pastrana, Ricky Johnson, Bryce Menzies, Carl Renazetter, and Lauren Healy, who all rely on the XD Series from KMC Wheels to get them to the finish line and on top of the podium. Check out KMC Wheels and their full line of XD Series wheels at KMCWheels.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KMC Wheels. KMC Wheels, like no other.
Rigid Industries is the original and #1 LED light bar manufacturer in the world. Torture tested by some of the best drivers in motorsports. Rigid LED lighting products use cutting-edge technology and can stand up to the harshest conditions Mother Nature can dish out. Designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States, Rigid LED lighting is the only choice for your off-road vehicle or boat. Find out more information on the entire line of Rigid Industries LED lighting products at www.rigidindustries.com.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. We're hitting the home stretch now, and what that means when we hit the home stretch is that Ami Houde should be calling in just about any time. We're going to talk anything and everything two wheels, and who knows where else it goes with Ami. You just never can tell. It's kind of the wild card segment of our show, and something I look forward to each and every week, and obviously you guys keep tuning in, so you look forward to it as well. But my partner in crime here every Monday. We're also going to be doing some RZR racing together out there at Terracross in Minnesota and Charlotte. So definitely looking forward to that. But she was racing over the weekend. I was racing, and got to give a big shout out to Jackie, who was our guest last week in the segment with Ami, and finishing up Vegas to Reno. Her and that all women's team there at Vegas to Reno did bring home a finish. So solid effort by them, and congrats. To finish Vegas to Reno 550 miles isn't easy. To do it on a bike definitely ups the difficulty level a bit. So big congrats goes out to them. It's a brutal course. I know she told me she actually rode the last 40 miles of the course. Jackie did at the finish. The last 40 miles was probably the most brutal part of the entire event. So big shout out to Jackie on that finish and her team. How's everything going, Ami?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Oh, not too much. I keep forgetting your intro. It's crazy. So, I don't know what's going on. So I got to hit this music because it's just, I have to do it once a week. I got to hit. I know, I got to do it.
You better bust that if you don't pull that. Where the hood at?
No, when we were gonna intro you, I was talking about Jackie, the girls, the all women's team, doing it up, finishing the event, which to me is a win in itself, and I think they finished up in the top 5. So big shout out goes out to Jackie and her teammates. Man, that is no easy feat to do 550 miles on a bike.
Heck yeah, they're awesome. Congratulations, girls.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to her after the event, and the last 40 miles, it's like they want to punish you at this event. The last 40 miles is the most difficult of the entire race. It's like a rock crawl for 40 miles. Literally, I'm in a truck capable of 140 miles an hour, and I'm going like 5 to 10 miles an hour just rock crawling over these rocks. And Jackie told me, I said, how did you like that? And she's like, that was brutal, all those rocks. She's like, what made it worse? It's a 40-mile section. She got a flat 3 miles into it, had to ride on a flat for like 35 miles through the rocks.
Yeah, she was saying. That's insane.
Yeah, so I don't know. She gets, as far as I'm concerned, Jackie and her team, they get the vote for the biggest balls of the week. So go figure.
Damn right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, she's in the military. That girl can handle anything life throws her way. So, no, that's definitely something that's up her alley.
Yeah, there was no quit in her, that's for sure.
She could probably go and run a triathlon after that.
Yeah, exactly. So how about you? I know, my weekend, I finished. It wasn't pretty, but we got to the finish line. But your weekend, yours wasn't pretty at all either.
No, it sucked. I sprained my ankle this weekend, and yeah, that kind of summed it up, and now I'm just limping around today and having a not so good time. So it wasn't a good day. So to take you through my story, probably the sickest race of the year. I'm out there defending my championship, me and this girl battling it out there on the track. It came down to the last lap, and I'm like, I gotta huck this quad so I could beat her, so I could win this championship. And I just, falls to the wall, fourth gear wide open, try to do the quad, crash, sprain my ankle.
Holy crap, that sucks. So
I'm actually totally kidding. I stepped in a gopher hole washing my bike and sprained my ankle on practice day.
Oh, geez. Well, no wonder you wouldn't tell me because you wanted to set me up.
I know, like, all my friends, like, I posted a picture on the internet, and all my friends like, oh, my God, what happened? Motocross life. I'm like, haha, yeah, actually. I mean, it's so embarrassing. I mean, come on. I couldn't have a cooler story. Like, I hopped a quad to try to win a championship, but I sprained my ankle stepping in a gopher hole when I was washing my bike after practice.
Yeah.
So mad. I was so pissed, and I was like, okay, whatever, it's fine. I'll just, like, walk it off. But I did the almighty, like, step, collapse, and I'm, like, trying to, like, crawl my way back to the motorhome, and my friend, like, Ashley and Taylor came and, like, lifted me up, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I'm just, like, laughing because it's so ridiculous. And then they're like, ice it. I'm like, nah, it's fine. So just go about my day. Don't even, like, worry about it. And then in the morning I woke up and it was so bad. I'm like, shit. So I tried to put my boot on. I couldn't get my boot on. And it was at a sand track this week. So, you know, there's a lot of standing. You're on your ankles the whole time. Like, I mean, you don't sit down and stand. So I had one more race I could drop this season. You can drop 3 rounds here. So I was like, you know what? I'd rather just drop a race and hurted it even more because we have like 2 more rounds left, and like they're the best tracks in Manitoba, and I really want to be like 100%. So yeah, sad, but I was the ultimate pit crew this weekend. Okay, I'm definitely the best gate packer in the 204 region. So if anybody needs a gate pack, give me a call.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny because you say that. It's like me. I've got this. You hear the old term football injury, whatever. You know, everybody seems like they've got them. So, like, I legitimately have my back is screwed up from football, and go figure. I race off-road trucks, right? Makes no sense when you've got a bad back, but such is life. So yeah, it's somewhat healed now at this point, but it seems like once a year I throw the thing out, right? I can go and lift 140-pound tire and wheels out of the back of the truck, change tires when I have to, bounce through 3-foot whoops at 100 miles an hour, wreck razors. Nothing ever happens to my back. But it seems like once a year I'll bend over to put on a sock and my back goes out. No joke. It's, and everybody's like,
oh. Getting old, Jim. That's called old age syndrome.
But it's been this way since I was 18.
Well, it's funny because, like, I'm only 26 years old and I'm like a little girl. But I walk into my trainers and, like, they have a physio place on site and people, like, ran on hand to fix you up and everything. And I walk in there and they, like, go to, like, do a little physio check me out, and they're like, they take a step back and be like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? And I say, I race motocross. They're like, oh. But people don't realize, like, I've been racing since I was 3. So that's, 23 years, which is longer than a lot of guys our age's, like, careers. And, a lot of people start kind of mid-age and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been racing and riding for 23 years, and I didn't really have good equipment like knee braces and stuff like that back in the day until I got a little bit older. And, I had put a lot of wear and tear on my body already, and I'm starting to feel it. And I was that kid who, I was a gymnast for 13 years, and I did, like, every sport under the sun, taekwondo, whatever. But now I'm starting to feel it, not going to lie. And I got to kind of, like, suck it up sometimes, because here's my dad going to work with a broken collarbone, and here I am, like, hips hobbling, like, out of the bed in the morning, and I'm like, pull yourself together, Amy. Get going.
Yeah.
But no, some days are rougher than others. Like in the winter when it gets cold, like I move very slow and my joints start to really hurt, and I can really notice it in my hands and my knees now. But I did also compress a couple of vertebrae in my back, so I feel you on that because I could be doing the dumbest thing and I ruin it, and I have to like chill out for a week. But it's hard when you live a very active life.
Yeah.
I really like to work out and I like to do adventures all the time, and it sucks having to kind of limit yourself, but that's why they invented a leave. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I've got muscle relaxers and ibuprofen 800 in the cabinet. And I have them in my backpack anywhere I go, just in case something happens or I can pop them. I constantly always just travel with them, and it's just because I know eventually it's just going to pop out. Last year it did. I was at GRC in New York hosting a rally race, and I've been over and the thing went out and made it miserable for the rest of the weekend. But just things happen. But yeah, you talk about me being old. I feel like it was funny. Levi LaValle and I had this conversation up at Dirtfish because we're the same age. And, I'm 34, and I think he's 33, almost 34. We're pretty close to the same age, and it was just funny having that because he's retired, semi-retired from snowcross, and it's so weird to be considered like the old guys. Like, I don't think I'm old. I go out and have fun. I still ride bikes, go to the skate park, whatever. But, like, I look at, entry lists on I look at back, and I've been off-road racing for so long, like looking at entry lists from, like, 01 and 02, and I literally was this punk kid with all these old veterans, and now it's like I'm like, I'm looking and I'm like, holy crap, like now I'm the old guy, it was like, I'm like, it just, to me, I'm not old, but I guess.
Try my sport. Dude, I am racing against like 9-year-olds, and I had to speed check a kid who came to my motocross school on a 65 because he was doing a jump I wasn't doing, and I had to follow him around the track. Like, there's a problem with, but motocross, this sport just gets younger. So technically, I got to get younger, too, because all the guys in my sport always get younger. So it's just like, all right, 25 again this year. I told all my friends, I'm like, okay, starting now, all the candles on my birthday cake just get a year younger instead of a year older. So, but, no, I'm from, like, the youngest sport. I mean, there's kids who, we have this 3 to 4-year-old class. And then, once you get on to 65, like, there's 65s who could whoop my butt. Like, those kids at Loretta's are so fast. Yeah. But, motocross is a really, really young sport, so I'm already considered a vet. I'm the oldest girl at the track racing, so pretty bad. But at least I don't look like it, so I got it covered.
You ever watch those videos of Brian Deegan's son, the one that goes this killing it and goes to Loretta's and stuff like that? And this kid jumping like triples and stuff on this little mini bike, and I'm like, holy crap, this kid's on point.
They would whoop me. But again, I had to speed check a kid on a 65 this weekend, and he used to come to my motocross schools, and it was actually pretty funny because his dad brought him to my school when he just got a 50 at KTM.
Oh, and there goes Amy. Her call dropped. I don't know what's going on. She'll call back in. I don't know. Shoot us a tweet. Do you feel like you're the old one? I want to hear your story at Jim Beaver 15 on Twitter, at Ami Houde 71. Give us a shout. Are you the old one in your sport? You still shredding the skate park at 30? I want to know. Hit me up. Hey, Amy, somehow you got dropped there.
Yeah, I lost you. Sorry. Okay, going on. So this kid, his dad used to bring him when he first got a bike. Didn't really know much about motocross. My schools are fun. They're all like a bunch of little kids and stuff. And his dad put him on the bike, and the kid literally cried. He hated it. He cried the whole time. He didn't want to go on the track. He did not want to ride his bike. And now, I swear, he must have had like a lap and a half lead in the 80 class this weekend. Like, it was insane. So it's pretty cool to see, watch my kids grow up and watch them become fast. But it's a kind of demoralizing when your little kids you taught are faster than you. I cry inside like a winner.
Yeah. Well, speaking of old guys, I've got to transition this, and I hate to do that to you, my friend Ronnie Renner, but you opened yourself up because in your Real Moto edit, you show up in like a little rascal electronic wheelchair. So you opened yourself up for it, my friend. But did you watch any of the Real Moto edits this weekend, Amy?
I did, and honestly, as I kind of was going down the list, I was getting like more excited and more excited. They were pretty cool. It was kind of a tie. Like, when I looked at it, I'm like, all right, I'm totally going to give it between, like, Twitch and Renner. No problem. Mike Mason, I already forget what the video was. Twitch's was cool because it was, like, old school, Misfits, grungy, and it gave me that feeling of kind of what Real Moto is all about, like riding with your buddies and your friends, and that's what I liked about his video because it's kind of like my life and how I view racing is I go out with my friends every weekend, and his video really kind of depict that, high-fiving with all of his buddies and stuff. So, but Renner's was just cool. Getting his bike dropped in by a helicopter was pretty epic, and also it showed a lot of Renner's personality, which I like too. Super funny. Yeah, rolling in on a wheelchair or on a like old man scooter thingy. Sorry, guys, but you're getting up there. But his video was cool because it showed a lot of his personality, and it was really like cinematic and stuff. So I like that. But and I was really, really shocked. But the last guy there, what's his name?
Wes?
Drake.
Oh, Drake.
Drake McElroy?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. My body was, like, getting shivers when I watched his video. Because it's exactly, everything that he said in his videos is exactly also why I raced. Just the freedom and being able to escape. And I love that he touched on every part of racing, not just bikes. He did flat track and, street bikes and Harleys. And it just, he can connect with anybody who owns a motorcycle. And I just think that he totally captured what, free riding is all about. And I like Drake. His video was really good. So
yeah, well,
they're all awesome.
Yeah, they were all awesome. I mean, Renner nailed the cinematics. Wes Adji, he just absolutely had some insane jumps in his. But I like Real Moto because when I was growing up, we didn't have access to a motocross track. I had hundreds of miles of desert and dunes and trails. So we'd leave out on a Saturday morning when I was a kid at like 7 a.m. before it got too hot. And we'd just go out and shred for like 4 or 5 hours, just finding any kind of hits we could, and then we'd, make our way to the river by noon and jump in the river and cool off. But that's where I can relate to Real Moto because that's what I grew up doing. I didn't have a motocross track. And at that point, there was no such thing as a steel FMX ramp. So, that's why I love this.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. It's definitely something different, and I just like how every athlete also had a very different version of what Real Moto is to them. And yeah, they're all good. But again, I really like Renner's dropping in on a helicopter. He kind of gives you that what if, like this is what it could be, like this is as cool and as exciting as it really is. Like it was more of almost like a fantasy, like a little bit of a fantasy world, but
yeah.
It was badass. They're all so cool.
Well, and I know you and I were texting with Renner on a group text over the weekend, and he's going to be on the show at some point, I would assume in the next month. He's up shredding mountain bikes. But that's what I love because, Renner's he's really into Polaris Razors, mountain bikes, dirt bikes, and it's like people forget, how accomplished he is on a bike. And, then he'll drop something like that and go, hey, I'm still here, guys. Or he shows up to X Games and nobody's heard from him in competition in a year. And he shows up and just throws down and goes, yep, I'm still, step up gold medalist. You guys aren't going to top me. That's what I love about Renner. He's so humble, but he just shows up and throws down and shuts everybody up.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, that's what it is. That's what it's all about. You can't be all show, no go. People can fly under the radar, but I think it's really cool when they can just show up here and there and clean up kind of thing.
Yeah, that's totally Renner.
In fact, he's getting up there in age, and now he has a bunch of little kiddies and stuff.
Yeah.
And
these kids are shredding.
Yeah, totally.
So, definitely good people. But let's talk some pro motocross real quick because Ryan Dungey locking it up. Locking up the championship this weekend. Another one.
I really don't think anybody cares because of the fact of the 250 showdown. Honestly, I am I can't wait. I don't have a race weekend this weekend. I have a weekend off. I am sitting in front of the TV or the computer or whatever, and I am watching every second of that race. Marvin and Martin are tied. They're tied. When's the last time that we've had a tie showdown going into the last race of the season? This is huge. I cannot freaking wait. And, I was reading a lot of stuff up on Racer X and Verb and everything and just kind of following what's been going on. And, there's so much going down into this last race. There's so much team tactics that I can't wait to see what happens. Marvin's not only racing Jeremy. He has Cooper and Aaron Pleshinger to worry about as well because they're a team. And Cooper kind of let Jeremy pass him this weekend. So, obviously they're going to be working together. I kind of didn't think Cooper would be like that, but again, Cooper is smart, and you have to ride for your team when it comes down to a championship, and the fact that Cooper's not in it. But I'm going to be sweating buckets. Grab the popcorn. Let's go.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's so rare in motorsports these days that things go down to the last event of the year, and what normally Crawfordsville, Indiana, nobody be paying any attention to that event. You know what I mean? It's, but now the eyes of the motocross community are on it,
Oh, it's awesome. Very exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and Marvin, I mean, this is pretty much his last hurrah in 250s, right? He's going to 450 next year. You know he wants it.
Yeah, and what's also kind of cool is that it does make for great racing because they're two different riders with two completely different fan bases. A lot of people are so dead loyal to Marvin Musquin because it's Marvin Musquin. And then there's a lot of people like Jeremy Martin because he is the previous season championship holder. So a lot of people are voting for Marvin and a lot of people are voting for Martin. So I like it that it's not just one person that everyone's cheering for. Like, you got some really dedicated fans on either side. So
yeah, there's no
cool
favorite.
Chat forums, if you read up all about it, it's good.
Yeah, for sure. Then 450s. I mean, we gotta mention. I mean, Dungey 1-1. He just, it's locked up. It's Dunzo. I mean, he's.
Yeah.
I was stoked to see Roxon though step it up. A couple of second place finishes. He's kind of been hanging back and a top 10 guy, but not really pushing forward. But to see Roxon back, back up front, that's always good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what he kind of takes from this outdoor season. I know it's not what he wanted at all, and I'd like to see him regroup and kind of, be back there defending that Supercross championship. So I hope he can, be dicing with Dungey a little bit more because it's kind of snooze. It's like a snooze cruise. So.
Yeah. So I'm already looking forward to Monster Energy Cup in October. What do you think we're going to see there?
I have no idea. You never really know who's going to show out. Come up to Monster Energy Cup. A lot of people don't want to get hurt before the season. It's not a Feld event, so you don't really have to be there. So either people play it safe, or sometimes you get a couple Europeans come over to race it too. So, but a lot of times it's a lot of the young guns. So we'll see. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, well, and a lot of guys the big name guys, if they don't win the first event, they just quit and don't run the second and third because they know they can't take home the $1 million. But here's a question. It's not a Feld event. I think this event is unsanctioned. Are we going to see James Bubba Stewart? Do you know? Have you heard anything?
Oh, no. I have not heard a thing. And you know what? Maybe the fact that we have not heard anything, it's going to be like him dropping in from a helicopter, making his grand appearance. I feel like because we haven't really heard anything, it's probably going to happen. So
yeah, well, I'm almost for certain that he's going to be doing straight rhythm. It's a Red Bull event, and that so I know we'll see him there. But I'm just wondering about Monster Energy Cup if he's gonna be there or not. It's I don't think there's any reason why he can't.
No.
Yeah, it would be really cool to see him back on a bike.
I don't know. Do you think he would have a bit of resentment towards the series and a little bit of why should I bother when you guys kind of did this to me and I don't want to be there? I don't know. I don't know how he feels, and it'd be really nice to actually ask him because either he's that person who's like, I have to be there because I can and I'm missing it and I'm dying to get out there and race, or he's like, no, you guys screwed me over. I ain't gonna contribute to any fan towards Supercross. See you later.
Yeah.
I don't know how he feels.
Yeah, I've got his cell number. I actually sent him a text 3 or 4 months ago at this point, and just seeing if he was interested in doing an interview. And I didn't get any response. But I haven't seen him do any interviews anywhere. So I mean, I'm not taking it.
No, not at all.
I'm not taking it any personal at all. I just I totally understand that. He's doing the right thing. He didn't go out. He didn't badmouth anybody. He's just being quiet. He's doing his time. He'll come back. And mark my words, Supercross next year, he is going to be he's going to be on fire. He's going to come out with a vengeance.
Definitely. No, I very much respect him that he has kept everything quiet and has not, gone out on the forums or done any interviews. Sometimes the best thing to do is just not talk about it.
Yeah.
Make it go away. Make it disappear.
Yeah, exactly. And I think everybody wants to see him back. And, at this point, I think it was, I don't know. The whole thing is stupid, to be honest with you. But it wasn't really AMA, though. This was an FIM thing, right? I think they were the one that issued the thing for many FIM events. So I don't know if he's really got Feld or the AMA to be pissed about. I think this came down from, higher above them.
Yeah, no, it was an FIM thing. So, yep, that is racing.
Yeah.
You got to follow the rules.
Yeah, exactly. So, what's up next for you? Obviously, bum ankle. You're gonna be able to be back on the bike in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, I'm fine. Well, I try to put some heels on for work today, like little heel boot things, whatever. And no, definitely couldn't. I'm like, I put them on and I go to like walk out of the house and I'm walking like a Bambi, baby deer, stumbling all over. So rocking some plaques today and just, I don't know, I'll just have to not do any squats this week. It'll be fine. It's just a sprain. It's more my ego is demoralized because I couldn't race. But and it kind of sucks because I went out to the track during the week there, tested and trained with my dad. I was dialed. I was feeling awesome. And I kind of tucked in with a couple of the other B riders on practice day and definitely was able to hold my own. So kind of bummed out because I knew I could have finished really well there. But, again, the last 2 races are at my 2 favorite tracks, so I know I'll be able to do really good. So just got to go out with a bang this season and just have some fun. So, but yeah, this weekend I have a weekend off. There is a big race down in the States, but it's 10 hours away. So I got to decide whether I want to drive or not. We'll see. I need a wing woman. Anybody want to come with me? No.
Oh, you'll probably have a ton of people tweeting you. I'll go.
It's so funny. There's these little girls at the track this weekend. I posted a photo on my Instagram with them. But me and the girls, we were like talking about what's coming up, and these little girls were hanging out with us. And this one, she must be like 5. She's like, "Can me and my mom come on a moto adventure with you?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes! Come on, let's go in the motorhome." But it's so cute.
That's awesome.
It's really cool that little girls like that, want to go on moto adventures with other girls. Like, it's just, I feel like I'm creating, me and my friends, like Ashley and Taylor, we're creating this really cool vibe at the track of just, friendship and bonding and togetherness and just being awesome. It's like, it's not girl versus girl and, all of us hating each other in rivalry. It's us, like, doing things together and being a big support team. And it's so cool that these little girls are seeing that and wanting to be a part of it too. So I, hope every girl out there who's listening in their series can kind of adopt that same value because it makes racing fun.
Yeah, for sure. And I think definitely a, inspirational, role model for some of these young girls and, keep it up. You're doing good things.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Well, no, I laugh because what was it? There was some post and you posted a while back, and I had to go on. And it's like me, I'll go and read the comments under some of my posts, and people, it's like, seriously. And there was something you posted about Terracross, and some guy was like, "You're selling out on motocross and this and that," and and he was like going off, and I'm like, I shouldn't respond. This guy did, and sometimes I know how it is. You get 50, 60 comments, and you can't read them all sometimes. So I'm sure you missed it. And I went on, and I'm like, how is she selling out? Like, she's still running full-time in motocross. She's going to race a freaking Razor that's fully funded. It's like, what are your people's problems?
It's so funny. Like, and it's hilarious because my friends, like, people at the track will be like, "Yeah, on our way to the races, we read your comment sections on your photos." Like, because literally, it's like pure entertainment. I had some guy be like, "What kind of bike is that?" I was like, "A Honda." He's like, "No, there's dual exhaust." I'm like, "The Hondas come stock with dual exhaust." He's like, "Well, not Yoshi's." I'm like, "They're rocket exhaust." Oh my God. Like, I just couldn't believe how much idiots are on the internet. Like,
do you get,
it is a
what do your direct messages look like? Because on Facebook, I get the most bizarre direct messages. Like, people, I'll give you $100 to drive your truck and this and that. I mean, it's just all kinds of stuff. I mean, everything from we want to give you free apparel to I want to drive your truck to, can I get Amy's phone number? Seriously, all kinds of randomness. I'm sure yours got to be the same way.
I get everything from, do you want free product to, do you want to see me naked, apparently, without my consent? And no, I do not. So please stop sending me naked pictures, people.
Oh,
I don't like
jeez. That's the worst.
No.
Yeah.
And it was actually kind of funny. Some person sent me, like, an X-rated photo on direct message this weekend, and I was sitting around the bonfire with all my friends. I'm like, "Ew, look!" And I, like, showed them all, and then I clicked the person's name, and it was like a 12-year-old kid, and he sent me, like, a X-rated photo. It must have been, like, a 30-year-old man. I'm like, this does not line up. No. This is not cool.
Oh, that's so...
Oh, God.
Guys, yeah, note to self, guys, the way to instantly turn off a girl is to send naked pictures of yourself when she doesn't want to see him or doesn't know you.
No, we don't like that. If you didn't know, that's not attractive quality. So, instant red flag. Blocked. Oh, God.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's funny.
All right. Well, we got to wind things down here, Amy. But once again, thanks for calling in, and we'll talk soon. And you and I got some Terracross coming up in a couple of weeks, so should be fun.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, thanks for having me again, and I cannot wait till next Monday where we can talk about Marvin Muscan and his championship.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
All right. Thanks, Amy.
See ya.
Bye. All right, that was Ami Houde. Definitely give her a follow at Ami Houde71, Instagram, Twitter. Gotta give her credit. One of the best follows on Instagram you can probably do at Ami Houde71. Got that motocross championship wrapping up this weekend. We got Lucas Oil coming up from Reno. We got TORC at Crandon here in a couple of weeks. And Formula Drift, we will have that Formula Drift post-event interview next week. And lots of guests. Got to give a shout-out to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish Rally School, UPR.com, Blue Water Resort and Casino, JMR Brakes, KMC Wheels, Parker Motor Company, Gibson Exhaust, MTX Audio, the official audio partner of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and Intense Tees. Give me a follow at Jim Beaver 15 on Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope, and Facebook.com/Down and Dirty Show. Download our app, available on Apple iTunes, Google Play, and the Amazon Kindle store. And man, it's been a great week. Thanks to Cameron Steele, Matt Martelli, Ami Houde. Awesome show. We'll be back at you next Monday with even more Down and Dirty Radio Show powered by Polaris Razor. As always, game on.